This is Scarlett. A few months ago, I bought her from a loose horse sale. I paid $25 whole for her, and I've been getting a lot of questions about the loose horse sale and how it works, so I figured I'd take you guys along to the next one. This is my favorite horse sale to go to. It's only a few hours from my house, and it is the biggest loose horse sale in the country. This horse sale has two portions, so they have a regular catalog sale, and then they have a loose horse section. I really like to buy the horses that need some rehab or training, so the loose horse pen is perfect for me. I like to get to this sale barn bright and early, so it's about 6 o'clock right now, and I head right to the back. The barn on the right is for catalog horses, but we're gonna go back past that. I was able to find a pretty good spot for my trailer, so I unhooked it and then drove all the way to the back. You can see that all these pens are filled with horses, and I want to say when I was here last night they had already checked in about 400 horses, and it looks like there's probably 500 or so checked in for the sale today. As people drop off their horses to sell, they fill up the pens in the back first, so all these horses that I'm looking at first today have been here the longest, so they're pretty quiet now. The horses that are getting sold loose get put in these big pens. They do have access to hay and water, but they just don't have their own separate stall. If you're shopping for loose horses at this particular sale, the back tags will correspond to whether or not they're registered or not. So this one, her tag number is 1606, and the 16 denotes that she is registered. They usually separate out the registered horses from the grade horses, so each pen will either be just registered or just grade horses. This sale does restrict who is allowed to come back in the pens with the loose horses. It's mostly for safety and insurance purposes, but if you want to come to this sale and buy a loose horse, I wouldn't let that stop you. There are lots of people that are allowed in the pens that will help you pick out a horse if you're there. It can be extremely overwhelming for someone who's never been to this kind of sale to go and try and pick out one horse. So it's always a good idea to bring someone that knows what they're doing to help you. And you can see here why it wouldn't be a good idea to go walking around through these horses if you didn't know what you're doing, because it can be pretty dangerous. I'm looking for a specific horse that I saw last night that I wanted to get a better look at now that it's lighter out. I'm just gonna hop out of this pen and try and see if I can get a bird's eye view of the horse I'm looking for. I do have this big old mule on my list, but I think she's probably gonna go for more money than my friend is wanting to spend. And you can get a good idea from this view just how many horses there are here to look through. So if you're trying to do this quickly, you're gonna miss a lot of animals. When I tell people that I buy horses from the loose pen, a lot of them just wrinkle up their nose because they think all these horses are skinny or lame or super old. And as you can see, all these horses are pretty fit and healthy even after the super long winter that we had in Montana. While they're waiting to be sold, they have access to this really tasty looking grass hay, and right up here I think is the one I'm looking for. This horse was pretty chill last night when I looked at him, and it could be just because he's really hungry and wants to eat, but I needed to get a closer look at him and really go over the things that I think might be going on with him, so I can make a good decision about how much money to spend on him when he goes through the ring. His feet need to be done, but that's really like small potatoes in the grand scheme of things. His hair coat is not great. He's gonna sell grade, and I really wanted to check and see what the situation was with his testicles. He also had a cut on him that I didn't notice last night because it was pretty dark out, but that is a little bit worrying to me. So I'm gonna try and go in and feel and see what's going on under here. And unfortunately, after poking around down there for a while, I was only able to feel one testicle. So he either hasn't dropped the other one or he is a crypt orchid, and he's gonna need surgery to fix that. After investigating this guy's knee a little bit farther, I decided that it was just too close to the joint capsule for me to feel comfortable with buying him. He was super friendly, so it was really disappointing for me to kind of put him on the back burner, but I have to be realistic about how I spend my money. One thing that I'm constantly reminding myself of is that there will be as many or more horses at the next sale next month. So if I don't find something that I really like, that I feel confident that I can rehab and get into a new home, then I feel okay not buying anything. So I'm going to continue to go through the pens and see if something catches my eye. So far, I've probably only looked at about 100 horses today, if that. So I've got a lot more to go through. This Palomino down here is one that's on my list. I know that she's probably going to go for a couple $1,000s, so I'm not going to get too attached to her. A lot of these horses will get bought by traders and they'll go to a different sale and sell as a riding horse somewhere else. So they will invest a few $1,000s if they think they can make more. And I'm just not going to compete with that. This Appaloosa was gorgeous, and I just know that he's going to be a few $1,000s as well. He's registered. All of these horses in this pen are registered, so I don't look too terribly hard at the registered horses just because I know the traders and private buyers are gonna pay more for them. One of the reasons I like to come super early in the morning before the horses sell is because there's not a ton of traders testing out the horses this time of day. There's one guy riding them. This Haflinger was on my list as well, but again, I was pretty sure that because this horse didn't have any problems, it was going to sell for more than I wanted to pay. A lot of these horses are broke to ride, so it's a good place to get one if you aren't afraid of a little bit of work or putting some training on one that might need some extra help. I'm starting to run out of time for the day before the auction starts, so I'm gonna head over, and they've got a separate pen full of ponies and smaller horses. This guy was super cute. He was actually a registered little stud colt. Most of the horses in this pen were young and unhandled. This little guy kept coming up to me and I took a look at him. He was super friendly. I really wanted to be able to put him on my list, but then I went ahead and I checked to see what the testicle status was, and he only had one, and he also had a giant hernia, so I was not able to put him on my list. And then these two, this little gray horse and this bay filly, was just gorgeous. Look at how pretty she is. After looking at all the horses, she was the one that I really wanted to bring home with me, so she was at the top of my list. These two mares and babies were just so cute. This mare was a really good looking mare. Both of these mares were registered, and there was a super cute young blue roan horse that I was trying to find that I just could not remember which pen he was in, and by the time I got to the back to check to see if he was back there, they had already started moving the horses up to the sale ring. This is the perfect time to stand and watch and check to see if the horse that you want to bid on is sound or not. They run the horses up pretty close to when they're going to start selling, so if you wait to watch them all move up, you might miss a few at the beginning of the sale. I have a pretty good list going, so I'm going to make my way up to the sale barn. I still have to get a bidder's number, and I want to look at some of the papers of the registered horses still. The sale ring is pretty much all the way on the other side of the property, so you have to walk past all of these catalog horses. I'm going to try not to get distracted. There's some really nice looking horses in the catalog today, but that is not why I'm here, so I'm going to hurry on past these and go and try and sneak one more peek at the horses before they go into the ring. When they bring them up to the sale barn, they put them in a little bit smaller pen so they can go through the sale ring very quickly, and this is what that looks like. All these horses are waiting for their turn to go through the ring. They're kind of smushed in there a little bit tight, but everyone's being calm and quiet. I still have a ways to go to make it up to this sale ring. I have to go past more of these catalog horses. I think there are about 250 this sale. I'm not sure. They haven't started selling loose horses yet, so I'm gonna hurry up and go get my bidder's number, and I'm looking at a few of the registered horses' papers before I sit down and the auction starts. The first horse that I see go through the pen is actually that super cute Palomino, and it didn't sell for as much as I thought it was going to, but she did sell for $1,000. This gelding was super nice. They had a bunch of people bidding on him and he ended up selling pretty high. He sold for $4,500. This little horse was gorgeous in real life and I looked at her very closely, but she did have something wrong with her right stifle. She was very lame, like to my eyeballs. Most people would think that doesn't look very lame, but she was lame enough that I did not feel comfortable bidding on her. There's always horses that I miss looking at, and this was one of them. I just thought it was a really good looking horse and I was really upset I didn't get a closer look beforehand, but it sold for $1,000. This was a team of halflingers, and sometimes during the loose they'll sell horses for 2 times the money, so you'll bid one price and then you'll get both horses and times the price by 2. These ones were pretty nice, and they sold for $2,200 a piece. This is not the same mule that I was looking at for a friend, but it seemed to be a decent mule. It was a good size and he sold for $2,800. This one was on my list, but it did sell for $2,600, so more than I was wanting to pay. This little mule was a pretty good deal. It was a little bit wild, but it sold for $500. This black and white paint horse was really nice. I saw a trader ride it and I'm actually surprised it didn't go for more money. It sold for $1,000. This horse was gorgeous. I didn't get the exact price that he sold for, but he sold for more than $2,500. They did have quite a few pairs at this sale, so mamas and babies. All of these horses got sold for one price, so they sold for $725 times 9. There were 9 pairs in there. They had a smaller group of 4 pairs that sold for $650 a piece. This next pair sold separate because the baby was so young and a rescue bought it, so that is awesome. The prices in the loose were getting pretty high. People were really wanting riding horses. This mule was super cute. If you don't know what a 3-bell mule is, they shave that special design into their tail and it means that they can ride, drive, and pack. This one sold for $1,900. They had quite a few teams at the sale this month. These boys sold for $3,500 a piece. They sold a few horses that you could tell were unstarted in a row, and they were around the price point I wanted. This guy is the one that I was trying to find, but since I did not get a chance to look at him before he went through the ring, I just didn't feel comfortable bidding on him. This little mule is pretty sassy. I'm not really a mule person. This one sold for $450. And coming up here, this is that cute little horse with the bald face that I looked at that I'm pretty sure only had 1 testicle, and I really thought hard about buying him because I knew he wasn't going to go for much money. And I could tell that a private buyer was bidding on him, so I felt okay letting him go. He sold for $375. This mare I was actually going to bid on for a friend, but she got a little bit too high in the beginning. She sold for more than $2,000, which was my friend's budget. At this sale, they sell the registered horses after all the grade horses, so they started in on these, and the prices for the registered was quite a bit higher than just the regular grade ones. This little stud pony was so stinking cute. I'm surprised he didn't go for more, but there were a lot more ponies at this sale than there usually are, so he sold for $550. I was really upset that I missed that bay filly, so I decided instead of watching the rest of the registered horses sell, I would go to the back and see if I could find who bought her and maybe offer to pay a little bit more money for her so I could take her home. After the horses sell, they're separated by buyer's number so they can have all of the necessary vet work done. I really don't need another horse right now, but it kind of bothered me that I missed that bay filly because she was a really nice looking horse that would have been able to be trained up and rehomed very easily. I did end up finding her in a pen, and it looked like whoever bought her was interested in the exact same horse as I was because they had also bought this little buckskin. I decided that it would be okay if I went home with an empty trailer today. There's always another sale, and I have a feeling that there are going to be some more at the next one that might need some extra TLC. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. There are a lot of really nice horses that get dropped off at this sale, and I would love it if more private buyers would come to these. Leave a comment below if you would ever consider buying a horse from the loose pen. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for the next video.